Today is the fifth year the United States federal government is observing the holiday of Juneteenth. It commemorates a day the last enslaved people in the Confederacy were informed of their freedom. Millions of Americans have celebrated Juneteenth at the state and local levels for many, many years before it became a federal holiday. I want to bring in Dr. Karida Brown. She is a historical and cultural sociologist professor at Emory University and the author of The Battle for the Black Mind. Dr. Karida, so good to have you today. Happy Juneteenth, first of all. I would love for you to explain the significance of today's holiday, how it came about. I don't think that people know the exact history of how it came to be, that there were still people who thought they were enslaved 2 years after emancipation, and then describe how it's celebrated.
On June 19th, 1865, the enslaved in Galveston, Texas, learned of their freedom. Now, this comes 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, and I think it's important for all of us to remember that during that time, there was no internet. There was no social media, no CBS News. So news traveled slow throughout the Confederacy about freedom. And that's why it took so long. And this message, this news that came to Galveston, Texas, culminated the last standing community, Black community, to learn about their freedom. Now, Juneteenth is one of many freedom celebrations that African Americans commemorate. My parents, who grew up also in the Jim Crow South in a little town called Lynch, Kentucky, their community celebrated the 8th of August because that's the day that African Americans in the state of Kentucky found out about their freedom. So Juneteenth culminates the amalgam of all of these freedom days where Black Americans earned their freedom, gained their freedom through emancipation, and it is something for all of us to celebrate.
Love it. Now, of course, there are some cities, as you know, that have been scaling back their celebrations because of this administration's attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Also, major corporations, I think this is critical, are dropping celebrations around Juneteenth because of the administration's demand that they roll back their DEI practices. What do you make of that? And, you know, I think it's interesting that people will certainly lament that, and perhaps it is lamentable, but given that people across this country have been celebrating Juneteenth since 1865, regardless of whether or not it was a federal holiday, I don't know that it impacts people as much as perhaps others, but I want your take on that.
I'll say two things about that. Number one, I wanted for us to just contextualize what this anti-DEI rhetoric is really saying. Diversity, equity, inclusion. If you stand on the opposite side of that, you're standing on a set of values that are advocating homogeny, exclusion, and inequity. And those values themselves are deeply anti-American. So I just want to remind us that DEI is a set of values that challenges us all to continue to live up to American ideals. And it's a shame that we are in this place in this country where some are staking their claims in values that are just against the principles of the founding of this country. Now, what I have to say about Juneteenth and how it relates to that, as you mentioned, Vlad, Black folks in America have been celebrating Juneteenth since 1865, and we continue to celebrate. So I want us to understand this holiday as a permissionless holiday. We do not need the permission of the federal government to have that holiday, to celebrate, to have joy, honor, remembrance, and celebration, not only from about where we've been, but where we're going as a people. So this is an ongoing celebration that will continue to be dearly held and important to African Americans in this country. And we invite all Americans to celebrate freedom. When you think about the chapter in history in American freedom, when we think about 4th of July, 1776. It was 89 years later until all Americans could celebrate in what that meant to be fully free. So let's look at this as a part of the long arc of the long freedom struggle in America.
Dr. Karida Brown, you certainly are right. You do not need permission to celebrate freedom. I see W.E.B. Du Bois behind you there. What a beautiful sentiment. Thank you so much. Happy Juneteenth to you, Doctor, and to your family.
Thank you. Same to you.